The animal kingdom is full of interesting creatures with incredible abilities. Unsurprisingly, humans often find facts about unique animal characteristics and behaviors to be irresistible, whether they're about the worst ways they evolved or the creepiest facts about them. These bits of information tend to get passed around as trivia, which in turn become general knowledge with frequent repetition. Here are some of the most common and oft-repeated misconceptions about popular animals. Think of an animal associated with forgetfulness. Chances are the first thing that would come to mind is an animal that you might even have in your aquarium at home. The goldfish. This fish is so infamous for being bad at remembering things that you have the memory span of a goldfish has become an insult typically hurled at forgetful people. However, this piece of so-called common knowledge isn't actually accurate. Scientific findings over the past few decades don't even support this notion. In fact, considering its scatterbrained reputation, the role of the goldfish in memory research is rather ironic. In an interview with the BBC, professor and fish behavior researcher Felicity Huntingford shared that, even in recent times, hundreds of studies have looked at goldfish learning and memory and did not find anything that would suggest that these popular pets have particularly bad memories. Goldfish can perform all the kinds of learning that have been described for mammals and birds, she stated, adding that the goldfish's memory and learning ability are precisely why scientists have used it as a model system for various studies on memory formation and learning in animals. In a 1994 study in the Journal of the Experimental Analysis of Behavior, scientists gradually trained 8 goldfish to use a lever that dispensed food, eventually limiting the feeding window to just 1 hour a day. They found that the goldfish actually remembered the feeding schedule, even after they disabled the food dispenser. The idea of something finding its way into your mouth as you sleep is, in itself, a terrifying prospect. Add spiders to the equation, though, and you might even start having trouble going to bed. It's an oft-repeated bit of trivia that the average sleeping person allegedly swallows a certain number of spiders, typically 8, every year. If it's any consolation, though, spiders are probably as wary of you as you are of them, and are highly unlikely to mistake someone's open mouth for a cave to explore. According to Scientific American, the 8-legged critters that live inside your home wouldn't even think of going to your bed while you sleep, simply because there's no food for them to find there. They're also not particularly fond of humans, nor are they likely to feel curious enough to approach one that isn't moving. As Professor Bill Scheer, former president of the American Arachnological Society, puts it, spiders regard us much like they'd regard a big rock. We're so large that we're really just part of the landscape. Plus, the vibrations that come from a sleeping person's heartbeat and snoring would be signs of danger to a spider and would probably make it hesitate to even approach your face. Vibrations are a big slice of spiders' sensory universe. Rod Crawford, the Burke Museum of Natural History and Culture's arachnid curator, explains, via Scientific American, the belief that most bats have very poor eyesight is a long-standing mistake that eventually birthed an idiomatic expression. Ironically, this couldn't be further from the truth. Not only do many bats see quite well, but some even have better vision than human beings. According to Dr. Christopher S. Baird, an assistant professor of physics at West Texas A&M University, the fact that bats have advanced ears and can see in the dark via echolocation does not necessarily mean that they have poor eyesight. Their echolocation abilities come in handy at night when food sources are harder to spot. However, most species are more than capable of finding food with their own eyes in broad daylight. A number of frugivorous bat species can even perceive and distinguish visual patterns, making it easier for them to spot fruits or sources of nectar. While small bats, microbats, typically have smaller eyes, they're still able to spot food and other objects beyond the normal echolocation range, 36 to 66 feet. On the other hand, large bats, megabats, possess larger peepers, which help them stay properly oriented when they're flying. Moreover, some of the larger bat species can see up to 3 times better than the average human being, per National Geographic. Interestingly, bats of all sizes take advantage of their eyesight, whether to protect themselves from approaching predators, travel safely, or even interact with one another. Up until now, and despite the abundance of evidence supporting the idea, the theory of human evolution remains an incredibly divisive topic for discussion. Oftentimes, one side would present the facts and studies that back it, while the other would cite their personal beliefs and outright reject it. Some even claim that it's just not possible that humans evolved because monkeys are still around. If Homo sapiens really did branch out from simian roots, then why haven't the monkeys all disappeared? The answer, while straightforward, isn't really that simple. Humans didn't evolve from monkeys, but do share a common ancestor with them. According to the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, the similarities in genetics and physical appearance between modern-day humans and great apes, such as gorillas and orangutans, suggest that at least 6 million years ago, apes and humans went on separate evolutionary paths from a single progenitor. In fact, almost 99% of the human genetic sequence is the same as that of bonobos and chimpanzees, via National Geographic. This is also the reason why there is no such thing as a missing link between humans and apes. There can't be a missing link, because one family didn't turn into another. You've probably seen a photo of this fish making the rounds on social media, a misshapen blob of pink gelatinous flesh with what looks like a sad, almost human-like face. Its less than majestic appearance has earned it the name Blobfish and the dubious distinction of being the world's ugliest animal, based on the results of a poll held by the Ugly Animal Preservation Society in 2013 via NSEC UK. However, it's unfair to judge Cycrolutes marcitus simply based on the way it looks when it's not in its natural habitat. As Smithsonian Magazine explains, the blobfish has neither a skeleton nor muscles. It also doesn't have something that most fish have, a swim bladder, which is what helps them float and move around underwater. That's why the blobfish doesn't retain its underwater form and appearance when it's taken out of the water. In fact, it looks pretty much like an ordinary fish under normal circumstances. And in the case of the blobfish, normal means downright hostile for humans. The blobfish lives 4,000 feet under the ocean, where the pressure is 120 times greater than it is near the water's surface. This much maligned fish's unique physiology is what helps it survive in an environment that would easily turn any human being into mush. Try to consider that before you make fun of the blobfish for not meeting humanity's arbitrary standards of beauty. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching our video about misconceptions regarding popular animals. We hope you found it informative and eye-opening. Remember, understanding the truth about these creatures is essential for their conservation and the well-being of animals as a whole. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe for more content like this in the future. Your support means the world to us. Stay curious and keep learning.